I feel like me personally, a lot of the rules to a lot of things be changed, and I be singled out about a lot of things. Not only just this situation. Ksoo and Crazy K should have stepped up for me. I felt I gave them the ample opportunity to step up for me. I understand what they were standing on, but I felt as if once I got involved, the game changed. I learned that I wasn't the man that I used to be. And I definitely learned that I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to do time no more. And I'm not a person that tries to justify nothing. Any decisions I make in life, I stand on them and I stand behind them because I've never been made to make a decision. I make them on my own, whether I want to make them or I don't want to make them. Once I choose to make them, I'm going to stand on it. I'm not in denial of my situation. I didn't set the right boundaries up. I let friendship and fathership intertwine together. Oh, and what a lot of people don't know is the guilt that I lived it with as a parent.
I see the look in your eyes, I see it on your face. You ain't grow with me, so you can't relate. Saw how you was moving, had to separate. I got from around your opportunity, came to elevate. I see the look in your eyes, I see it on your face. You ain't grow with me, so you can't relate. Saw how
I'd like to start off this episode of Surviving Self-Destruction with a quote from your son, Crazy K. My daddy always told me, never get into trouble, because if the police ever get me, they're going to treat me like they treat him. With that said, Abdul Robinson, welcome to Surviving Self-Destruction.
Oh, man, thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it,
For sure. Outside the news headlines, the street gossip, internet blogs, who is Abdul Robinson?
I'm a ex-hustler, and that's where the whole perspective of Abdul Robinson is twisted up now upon the situation. It's like once you make a path for yourself, people don't understand or won't accept the change. And that's where the confusion comes in a lot because people, I don't know if they don't want you to change, but that's what it seems like. They want you to stay the same. They don't want you to grow. They want you to stay ignorant. They don't accept certain people, the ramifications of change to certain people. The rules, I feel like me personally, a lot of the rules to a lot of things be changed, and I be singled out about a lot of things, not only just this situation. And I'm not a person that tries to justify nothing. Any decisions I make in life, I stand on them and I stand behind them because I've never been made to make a decision. I make them on my own. I be given the choice whether I want to make them or I don't want to make them. Once I choose to make them, I'm going to stand on it. And some things be perceived as if I'm trying to justify this or justify that. Never that. I'm not in denial of my situation. I am a family man. I'm family oriented. I love family. And that's what I like to try to build on is family. And I'll be serious about family. What someone's on the outside know about me and don't know about my family, it don't matter. I just worry about what my family think.
As a father, what price did you pay for your sons to be afforded the opportunities you didn't have?
Well, I sacrificed a lot, and it took me a lot. It took me a lot of trial and error to learn a lot of things. Everybody got to learn by mistakes, because when you're in the game is like, you like a dope fiend to the game. You set in your mind when you start out, I want to make this amount. When you make that amount, you want more of that. You just keep going on. It's like they say with a drug addicted, that first hit, you always chasing it and you can't never get it back. And I mean, I sacrificed a lot, and what a lot of people don't know is the guilt that I lived it with as a parent. And I didn't set the right boundaries up. I let friendship and fathership intertwine together. And that's a great mistake. I should have had barriers up, but I didn't because I felt some type of guilt of me going to prison for 11 years and coming home to see the state of my children. But that came with growth in prison, getting some kind of understanding of parenting. And it's okay to be a cool parent, but it still need to be some boundaries set to like, this my parent, this ain't my parent and my friend. And that's what I let happen. And that was a grave mistake for me.
How are you now to your current children? That's, I believe, 6, 5 and 6 or 6?
No, they're two, they 7, my 2 boys are 7, and my daughter, she 9. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm trying. I'm kind of like a fragile parent. I'm scared because of what I went through just now, and I try to be stern on them, but it's hard, and I want to be stern, but I don't want to let my situation, what I just came through, roll over into them and we go wrong somewhere. But one thing, I'm definitely going to have the barriers there as fatherhood, child, son, daughter, stuff like that. That's without a doubt.
From all you've been through over the past 3 years, what did you learn about yourself that you had to confront and accept?
I learned that I wasn't the man that I used to be. I learned that I was older. I learned that I needed to change my thought process. And I learned that I wanted to be a better person overall. I can't worry about being judged. I have to move forward. I understand that. And I definitely learned that I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to do time no more.
So let's take it back to the incident surrounding your sons being incarcerated and you guys just facing the trial as a whole. At that day and time, were you a present father?
Yes, very much so. I was intertwined in their life, in the little music business that Ksoo was trying to pursue. I was there to make sure that he reaped all his benefits. I wasn't there to benefit off of him. I wasn't there to rob him or steal nothing from him. I never made no money off of him. I never even took money from features that he done, and I was as manager, what I supposed to got the 10% for it or whatnot. I never took none of that. I always been in his life. When I came home, I think when I came home, he was probably 12, something like that. He lived with me since then. Since I came home until the situation, we live together. I'm an active parent, I'm not the parent that people want to perceive. I don't sit at the table, talk about no crimes, breaking no crimes with my sons. I don't even let them, I done said it 100 times, I don't even let them cuss in front of me. Of course he gonna cuss in music. That's part of that. That's a job for him. but sitting in the same setting and he cussing, because I always felt if I let them cuss around me, eventually they would cuss at me. And we had a good relationship, you know, up until this situation happened. And, you know, I felt as if Ksoo and Crazy K should have stepped up for me. I felt I gave them the ample opportunity to step up for me, you know, and I get that Crazy K and Ksoo, I understand what they were standing on, but I felt as if once I got involved, the game changed. Not as saying as if they had to snitch or tell or rat on somebody. I just felt that's when the responsibility should have came up, because I knew our relationship. I knew the bond that I thought we had. And I understand the code that they was on. I get it. But once your loved one gets involved, it makes the situation different.
Yeah.
And that's where that was my standpoint, you know, and I still believe that until this day. You know, my standpoint won't be persuaded by the trollers, by the bloggers. My standpoint gonna always stay the same because that's what I believed in. You know, they are my sons, but they are men, grown men that won't listen to half of the things that I tell them. They will hear me, but they won't listen to it. And it's a difference. When you listen to something, it soaks in, and you heed to what someone is telling you. I felt like I could have really been the cheat code for them if they would have soaked up everything that I said, because of what I've been through, what I seen, you know, and just like, you know, I always told Crazy, if they get you, they gonna treat you everything, anything they get you for. It could be a parking ticket. They gonna treat you like you killed someone, because I know the past experience that I